number 6, audience comments. This is where you can fill out a slip in the back, address the council up to 3 minutes. We have quite a few slips tonight, so I'll be a little strict with the time, but we'll start with Alonzo Marquez. And when you come forward, just state your name and whether you live in or out of the city. Welcome.
I'm Alonzo Marquez at 613 North 3rd Street. I don't think that you guys knew we have a lawsuit going on right now, but I was the chair, the elected chair for ACLU for 15 years, just not only in Yakima, but Oregon, Idaho, Montana, parts of Montana, parts of California. I brought up this subject with the problem back in '85. You guys, most of you guys, were little kids. The city council didn't listen, and I knew sooner or later it was going to come up to bite you in the butt. And I've been advising ACLU and how to handle this. And here's what I told them. Huh? Oh, okay. I told them, you know, we should go to 7 districts, no at-large seats. All 7 city council members that are present should resign now, and not to be allowed to run for re-election. City managers should also resign. And the city attorneys who advise you guys should be fired. Here's my recommendations. The cost of this lawsuit should be paid by the city council and all the other members who were involved in this corrupt deal. That's my recommendation, and I think the ACLU is going to hit you with a bill of about $4 million. So I think you guys better start thinking what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon Mayhack.
I'm Sharon Mayhack. I own Special Effects Hair by Design out on 4711 West North Hill Boulevard. And the issue is about signs again. Now, we are only allowed 1 temporary sign, and I have my flags on my sign, and then I have a welcome sign and an open sign. Well, you guys have your political signs all over the damn city. And I had them in here because I wanted to make a statement about them, but Mr. Crowley had me remove them. So I have a picture, which I'd like you guys to see. On 16th and Lincoln. How nice that looks. It's a real eyesore. Now, is mine an eyesore? No. I actually take down my signs every night, and I put them up every morning. I even wash the open sign, the welcome sign, and I keep them looking very nice. Now, why is it okay for you guys to do all that, and then you're telling me and businesses around here that we can only have 1 sign, and the big businesses that have them in their windows that they can only have 1 sign? That's the only way we advertise. So leave us alone. I have done this for 7 years, and it's been successful. And I ask people, you know, what brought you in here? That's my sign. So leave me alone. Leave the little people that are trying to make a living alone. you're all worried about doing that there. Why don't you take north first and clean it up? Isn't it really nice to come into our nice city and have the derelicts and the Union Mission and all that and crap that you got to look out and coming into it, and then come in off of 16? Gosh, we could look at this.
Well, as you may or may not know, we are cleaning up North First Street with $11 million in a 2-year project. And
Well, I hope so.
as far as the sign ordinance goes, we have reviewed it in our committee, as we discussed the last time you were here, and I have driven by your property. Your roof sign is actually, according to the ordinance, supposed to be at the level of the building. It hangs lower. That's not within code. The sign I noticed most about your business was the one in your window that's flashing with lights that caught my attention. And the open sign and the welcome sign are hard to read because they're at an angle. But you're allowed one temporary sign for 30 days, and the flags on top of your sandwich board sign and your sandwich board sign are allowed. It's just the 2 poles that have to come down. So I don't think we're trying to tell you you can't have a temporary sign to promote a sale or something you're doing. It's just you have to have one temporary sign unless we change the ordinance, which we haven't done yet. So that's where we're at.
But they come down every night and up every morning. They're not out there continually.
I understand, but they're temporary signs. So you could have it up there temporarily for 30 days, and you took it down so it didn't get stolen, because, as you know, that happens in this town. So.
Well, they're up and down every day.
I know, but you could have it up there for 30 days consecutively, then have a different temporary sign up promoting a sale, or even keep your sandwich board probably with your flag.
Okay.
That's where we're at. So.
Are there 2 flags?
Pardon?
Are there 2 flags?
There's 3 flags. There's an open flag right by my door, and there is a welcome and an open flag, which is this here, as I showed you.
Okay.
That's my sign also. That's my sign.
If she switched these signs every 30 days, would she technically be within the law?
I take
No,
my signs down.
you can have a temporary sign up for up to 30 days, but no more than a total of 90 days over the course of the year.
Right. A lot of it's for sales, and most
Yeah.
businesses don't have signage. In
Correct.
fact, none of your neighbors have any. There's one, Jones Scooter has a sandwich board that they put out on the other side of the property that I saw. And we have been looking at your case. It's not that we're trying to pick on you, but if we don't make any changes, then 2 of those would have to come down, but 1 could stay up.
And that's the code that's
So
been
what
that
if
way
those
from...
are American flags?
I don't, it's temporary signs. Flags may
That's
be
not a
adjusted.
temporary sign. That's the American flag.
Are you trying to find a way around it, or?
Oh, then just leave me alone with that. I've done that for 7 years.
I'm just trying to explain to you the ordinance, so we can sit down and talk about it with Tony and the staff and let you know what the rules are, but unless we change them, that's what they are.
Well, why don't you change them?
Well, that's up to us to do. And like I said, it's gone through committees, coming back here soon. Tony, when's the set date for our signage issue?
It's in the planning commission, but this was not one of the proposed amend changes.
Okay. So it doesn't look like it will change. Unless we amend it on the floor the night of, which is
No,
possible.
please do.
Well, we'll
That's my
consider that.
business. You're asking me to take down my investment and for the ability for my clients to know that I am open.
We're asking you to follow the law. That's what we're asking you to do.
Well, what about you following taking down your political signs?
We do follow the law with those, and trust me, the city's been enforcing it where they can.
Well, they're really
Yeah,
ugly.
we gotta move on to the next subject, but I wish I had a better answer for you.
Wow.
Do you have a date for her when that's coming up?
Well, you never called me back, and he never gave me information, so that's just really
I
wonderful,
talked to you
too.
last week. Yeah.
You were supposed to send me some information. You never did.
You didn't ask for any information.
Yes, you did.
just
You asked for my email address, and you were going to send me information, and you never
Here's
did.
what happened, Sharon. When you sent me the email, it says if you don't call me back today, demanding that I call you back right away, and trying to figure out where we're at with this, you said you're coming down here, which we can address it here, which you did. So,
Do we have a date that we can give her when it's going to be in front of us?
it's in the planning commission
It's
now.
not coming before you. The proposed amendments you've made does not include a change in the number of temporary signs.
So something else is coming forward. Okay.
What is coming forward?
The whole sign,
The whole
sign
sign?
ordinance.
We have 4 amendments, but this is not one of them.
Well, you put that ordinance in front of me and see if we can amend it
Okay.
from here. We'll see. I don't
It's the
know.
prerogative of the council.
Correct.
And there's only 3 council members on the committee that review. So you have a majority that's not on the committee.
Well,
We got to move on to our
yeah,
next one.
I would appreciate you guys figuring it out so that I can continue to do business and people can see my signs. I keep them very, very nice.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Chris Fork, you're next.
Chris Fork again, 105 West Washington Avenue. Yeah, come on, 903. You only didn't give me nearly enough time to cover everything I'd like to, but we'll do the best we can. I'm the one that was hurt in that home invasion last Tuesday, okay? Yakima is not a safe town. You're spending money, I think, all the things. I remember something in a citizen survey about you wanted Yakima to be a walking town or something like that. You know, you should be doing pathways. You could go from Sarge Hubbard Park to the Central Plaza. You could do so many things. And I know this isn't a totally done deal, but sometimes I think it is, because you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yakima, we all know how it is. Graft and crept, and doesn't matter where you are. Mr. O'Rourke, thank you for your help on everything you've done. This was not Chief Rizzo's fault. This was a no-fault deal. I couldn't see myself dying the other day, and I escaped, and I went out the window, and I got the license plate number, and I thank Yakima Police for getting them so quickly and getting them off the streets, which they should have been on the streets anyway. Okay. You guys you're not thinking about the little people here. I agree with her on that. Yakima's a big town. We're not just all got a lot of money. And again, alcohol, that seems to be the thing, everything's going on. Even your family night on Thursday nights, I love it. Alcohol, there's a beer tent. I understand that's how the valley's starting to run. No matter what, alcohol is going to be a business even during Prohibition. Water, a feature where you can fall into after coming out of a bar, no brainer. Sorry, that's why. Okay, community. What is community? Community, Latin term, common. People go for a common goal. You strive for a common goal. That's what community is. We're not striving for a common goal here. The citizen survey you had out to so many people in certain neighborhoods, I don't think it was accurate. I think it was biased. I think that people are handing it out from the city hall to people that are going to approve things. I really like the way Mr. Enzi, Mr. Edel, Mr. Lover work. Thank you, gentlemen. You're great. You seem to care about us. What happened to Yakima? Where's the safe house? Where can kids go to? There's nothing here for kids. That's why we have a gang problem. You guys get involved in gangs. Where do they go? If you had a all-covered swimming facility, you know, you got things for kids to do. We need more things for the kids. We need this to be a good town. We want people to live here for their health. Isn't this the fattest city around, one of them? Why should we drive? Why drive and park right next to it? Walk. Get a walking path. Where's the bike path? Where's the bike path on the new roads they're putting in? Why is there no bike path? Where's about safety for the city?
You got 30 seconds.
Okay. You know, they couldn't shut me up when they hit me with that pistol either, so.
I'm not trying to.
I'm teasing. I have to have something to go.
I agree.
Okay. I'm very lucky to be alive right now. I pretend I'm not going to be a victim. I will help anybody in any way that I can in this town. I'll give the shirt off my back. Okay? I'm a survivor. And we need more of that type in this town. We need a healthy town. People want to come here and live because it's a healthy town. And it's safe, okay? That's my opinion. Thank you for everybody. And Mr. O'Rourke, I will be emailing you. And he did contact me right away when I asked him. The man was on the spot.
He usually does.
And may I go now because I'm bleeding.
Thank you. Charles, no? Absolutely.
I am Charles Knoll. I live at 1101 North 4th Street here in Yakima, and through the shortest time, I'm going to go kind of fast, so stick with me. I'm a big fan of movies. I watch a lot of movies. I love trial law. Watched movies on that. I loved A Few Good Men. When Tom Cruise got to the point, he said, why the two orders? He couldn't figure out why he had to issue two orders. And we have a two-order thing going on here. Last time I was here, we were talking about $800,000. Rick had proposed that we would drop the utility tax by 2% from 6 to 4. And Tony gave a compelling argument as to why we couldn't afford to do that, because that $800,000 out of the general fund would be rough to deal with unfunded obligations that we have with city employees that we can't afford to give up to $800,000. But at the same time, we had the Martin Luther King Boulevard underpass, where we had, and correct my dollars, we had $350,000 left over. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay. How is it that we can't afford to give up $800,000 from the citizens, but yet we can afford to spend $350,000 on an unneeded lighting project? That's a question I'd like answered.
You're talking a one-time expense versus
Just
$800,000
in
revenue
in this
every year?
particular case, it is a one-time expense, but it's not going to be the only one. So
Sure, there's
just in this,
maintenance with that, but you had a one-time money.
okay,
800,000 would be every year,
right.
it's gone forever.
Right.
That's the difference.
But how could we afford to give up the 350 if we have unfunded obligations that we can't pay for now?
Well,
That was
Dave,
restricted to the project.
Because there was an obligation initially to spend money for art tied to that project. The expectation of
So
the commitment
there's-
was made as early as 2007.
Okay,
The
so
people in the
there's-
community were working on this, and it's come to fruition, and that's what the council felt that they needed to make good on that promise.
And of that requirement that was in the funding that required us to spend that money, any council member at all, how much time in total have any one of you put forward to counter those kind of efforts that would have to require us to spend money we can't afford to spend?
well,
Zero, but who says we can't afford to spend that? You do, but the council felt
No.
that we could, based on the
Tony
commitment of
O'Rourke
that
said-
money to the project and the money being there
I guess
for
what
the
I'd say is
project.
that any funding that we authorize is, because it's legislated by discretionary by us to
Right.
spend and bond and
So by discretionary spending, the council and or the city can spend any funds, even though they can't pay their obligations. They can spend it on anything they want under the current
well, I
order.
think we're paying our obligations. We're currently meeting
I
our
don't believe
financial-
that's true. I think we're
I believe
over
that's-
obligated.
That's your opinion, I suppose.
No, that was expressed by the city manager.
Well, I suppose our bond rating shows that we're in a pretty good financial position.
It was just upgraded.
Okay, so credit. Credit is not money, credit
I'm
is
not saying
debt
credit, but I'm just saying that we're financially solvent.
Yeah.
for the time being.
In any government,
Our,
if you
ob-
look at...
our
here's the-
obligations, both local, state, and federal, is overbooked.
Oh, I'm
There's
sure.
billions
I'm
of
sure you look at the federal budget.
overbooked, but even in the city, I can bet it's in the millions. Our obligations are higher than our money that we're coming in. So the only way that we can properly continue this is to keep charging more and more and more taxes on the citizens. What I'm saying is, you're spending more money and saying you can't afford to give up money, which is one side saying one thing and the other side saying another.
I would say this is the choice of the council to either raise it or lower it, or...
So on the
But
record,
we, by state law, are required to have a balanced budget at the end of every fiscal year. And
so
that's
before I walk away,
time.
the unresolved thing is that all the city council members currently have spent no time to counter any kind of requirement for us to spend money where we can't afford to. So that's on the
Well, if
record.
I could make a point of clarification, audience participation is not a question and answer. You're allowed
it's
to
their option
comment,
to
and
answer.
then you can ask questions after the meeting.
I understand, I'm just facilitating the
All right.
discussion to the rest, but that is your time, Charles, and
All right, thank you. And also, I'm in the new district that's going to be coming out.
But just for point of clarification, the council didn't lower the proposed utility tax, but they have accepted the proposed $800,000 in reductions. They're going to consider using that savings to invest in capital.
Okay.
So we are going to reduce $800,000.
All right, thank you very much.
Don Lyon
Mhm.
and Sheila, welcome to Yakima.
Thank you, Mayor. I am Don Lyon. I've lived here all my life in this area. I was born in St. Elizabeth Hospital in 1945. Very proud of it. Very proud of this community. What I came to talk about tonight, I was asked by the lady when I called the council phone number yesterday. She said, "Why don't you come down and talk to the council?" And so here I am. Thank you. When I drive from Sela to Yakima, I most generally travel north first. And on many occasions, just about every occasion, there are people jaywalking in the vicinity of the mission, Union Gospel Mission. One day I rolled down the window because we were stopped there for some traffic and so forth, and a lady was coming out of there, and I said, you know, I said, you really shouldn't do this. I says, it's for your own safety that you have a crosswalk down there. You brought up a good point a while ago, Mayor, about that one lady was complaining about her signs and so forth, and you said it's the law. Well, that crosswalk down there is the law. And the other day, I'm going to make this quick as I can, the other day there was 2 police cars in the left turn lane headed north. I was going south. There was people started to dart out in the street, and then they ran back. And I thought, oh, maybe the police will do something here, you know. Well, they were probably on another mission because they turned and went into the Union Gospel Mission. They were probably going to answer a call. A couple of days ago, my wife was going to town. She rolled down the window and said something to somebody, and they just waved at her. And they were still waving at her when she drove on by, and she looked in her rearview mirror, and they still waving at her. They think it's cute, you know. But for the safety of the drivers on North First, for the safety of those people on North First that's running back and forth across the street, and for the tourism that comes into this town, and that's the first place that people from the west side are most probably going to come in, unless they go to Yakima Avenue or what have you. That's what they're going to see, and you guys are doing the right thing about sprucing that up. I watch the news every night, and so I'm not gonna rattle on anymore because I've made my point, I think. But
I think we need to come up with the enforcement side of that. And the difficulty is, in the city with the amount of crime we have and different types of crime, is jaywalking. Even if you shoot somebody out of the street, and I've seen, in fact, almost every time I'm down there, someone wandering back and forth like it's a crosswalk all up and down there. And Rick sees it probably as well. So maybe some enforcement emphasis in that area for different times would be important.
And I know it's probably difficult to enforce with the nature of the people that are doing it. I understand all that, but
no, I appreciate you raising that concern. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Tony, if we could talk to the chief, maybe the motor cops could go down there and...
I agree, but the first thing, we'll meet with Rick Phillips and talk to him. He can hopefully educate the people that utilize that facility not to jaywalk, because I think that's the better long-term solution.
I'm not even sure if it's all them as much as it is transients that are, or folks that are just wandering around there.
Or people that have been kidnapped.
I almost need to plant a cop out there all day long, just one side or the other.
Yeah, motorcycle cops like to race people.
You got it. We might reinstate you, sir. Joe Anderson, you're next. Just have a couple more, then we'll finish our agenda. Thank you for your patience.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm here about community awareness. I do just have only one question, and that is directed towards City Attorney Jeff Cutter. I need to find out how I can press charges on city employees, not just for myself, but also for other individuals.
I'd probably recommend that you hire an attorney and go through the process. Police officer? So you'd file a complaint like you have done, and okay. Police officer?
So I would have to go down to YPD to file a complaint against a city employee.
And they would determine if they press charges or not.
Okay. All right, here we go. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and the equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government. I'm sure that you've heard majority of this statement before, have you not? Hope so. You had somewhat of a constitutional week as part of the Declaration of Independence. I've sat here in this room tonight and I've heard many community members approach you on many certain topics, listening to the unpleasantness of how they feel that the city council and city manager are conducting themselves. I, for one, yes, I am a community member of Yakima, and I am disgusted with the actions that have taken place in our local city government.
That's your time. I hope one day you get a chance to serve. I do. Amen. I think people coming forward and having both sides of this is we are citizens of this community and we're not trying to oppress our people or do any of that, but I thank you for coming, and we'll have your daughter come next and she can have her 3 minutes and we'll move on with our agenda. Thank you, Joy.
I firmly believe that, you said to somebody earlier tonight that followed the laws. I think you need to do that too.
I believe we are.
My name is Darlene White. I live at 807 Mulder Drive, Yakima, Washington. I would like to bring police brutality to your awareness. There have been multiple articles of police brutality in Yakima. I feel that we should take this into consideration of investigation on the Yakima Police Department, or at least show that we want to do something about these corrupted cops here in Yakima. I know multiple people have been victims of the police brutality. Them and their families are scared to call the police for something has been done, being afraid that the police are going to turn on them. They're supposed to be peacemakers. You're not supposed to be afraid of them. It really frustrates me that you council members turn your heads to people that are trying to bring awareness to what's happening in the city of Yakima. What our people want to see is you guys opening your eyes and your ears and showing acknowledgement. What makes me sick is there's also problems with your city employees, and the city employees don't do their jobs right, affects other people's lives. What you have done to my stepdad, Russell Anderson, which charges were dismissed, and now you have done to my mother, now is complete violation of your oaths. Shame on you.
Thank you. Well, the flip side for audience comments, we can move us to item number 7, which is an ordinance related to employee leave of absence. Sorry.